Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever, Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I am Robin.
And I am the Mentok, the whenever of this situation.
Oh, so we're back to that now, huh?
Yeah, I switched it back. I couldn't think of anything clever this time around, like when you're on the spot sometimes, the jokes don't fly as quickly.
Yeah. Although I guess you should be more familiar with making jokes on the fly though, since you're a streamer.
Yeah, sometimes like you wish you could have that perfect moment, but sometimes it's difficult.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I have gotten a lot better at that, so there's that. If anybody wants to be funnier in real life IRL, just start streaming, bro. Just bomb publicly a few times, and then you'll
Yeah,
be the most popular person in the room.
yeah. Speaking of things that are funny, do you remember Bungie, the guys who made Halo?
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
going on with Bungie?
Well, they split off from Microsoft like way back in the day, and they made Destiny with Activision, and then
Funny
Activision.
enough.
Yeah, funny enough. And then they kind of fell out with Activision, but they retained the rights to Destiny. So they've been kind of doing their own thing for a little bit, and it just came out recently that PlayStation is acquiring them.
Yeah. So this news is. Oh, I'm gonna act like I didn't know. Oh my
Yeah.
God! What? Holy crap, Robin! What's going on there? We were just talking about Activision and Microsoft, and Sony comes in and buys Bungie. What are you telling me right now? No, but for real, like I. So they bought them for what, $3.6 billion or something like that.
Jeez, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I think it's like 3.6, which I mean, looking at the grand scale of like freaking the Activision purchase, this looks like chump change, but hey,
Yeah.
if
Well,
a million of that flew through my window right now, I'd be so happy. But
Yeah,
the whole
I mean,
the whole go ahead.
you okay? Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand it's different because Bungie is one studio, whereas Activision was an entire publisher, so they had multiple
Right.
studios under that. So, it
Right.
makes sense that the billions would be different, but you know, still a lot.
So, I mean, it's no secret that like I'm more of a I almost said a Marvel person, a Sony person. I don't know how that almost like came off the tongue there, but I'm more of like a Sony person. I've always been more in tune with the PlayStation brand, and then like Nintendo's kind of been like the sideline thing. I was more of a Sega person growing up, but I like Nintendo stuff now that I can afford those things. Um, but I'm definitely not biased to this situation because I think Microsoft is starting to acquire publishers versus studios. Studio
Yeah,
acquisitions, I never had an issue with, and I didn't have an issue with Microsoft doing this in the past. They bought a bunch of indie studios, after maybe funding a game or so, and I think that's cool because it gives those guys kind of some financial freedom to
yeah,
do whatever they please, right? And that
yeah.
brings creativity back in. But
Like the
what I
best.
can agree with is the mass gobbling up of these huge publishers because I think that just is going to destroy the competition. It's going to change the playing field of gaming, in my opinion. And I don't know what that climate looks like, but in my opinion, I don't know if it's going to be the healthiest. So
Yeah,
that's my opinion on that. So Sony picking up Bungie, like I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but it's not as big of a deal as the Activision purchase, and I think anyone can agree with that. But hey, who am I to say?
yeah. I don't have a problem with Microsoft buying studios. I think them purchasing Double Fine is the best example of a studio that ended up doing well in the end because Double Fine are the guys who were making Psychonauts 2,
Yeah,
and that was in development hell for a while, and then Microsoft bought them and then just essentially gave them a blank check and said, just release it when it's ready. And because of that, we now have Psychonauts 2, which everyone is saying is one of the best games ever made.
yeah, because prior to that, Double Fine, you can tell they were kind of going through some troubles because Tim Schafer, who is the lead at Double Fine, He takes his time with telling a story and like always goes to these like very artistic mediums when he's creating a game.
Yeah.
And I recall there was one game, I can't remember the name. This came out like 2013, 14. I have a hard time remembering it now. But they were kind of putting that off the ground, and they released like a part 1 of it. And they were going to do a part 2, and they had to kickstart that. So I think Microsoft purchasing them makes sense because now they can fund that. And whatever ideas they approve, or, you know, it could be like I've heard PlayStation is very laid back as well. When they purchase it, they're like, all right, don't let us down, but here's the money. Make sure, you know, do what you want to do here. And I think that's a good way of running these studios. But the publisher thing.
Yeah. No, it's like it was like kind of like I don't know. I kind of realized like after we recorded that episode where we talked about all that like Microsoft hasn't like set a precedent with them buying Activision because they already set the precedent with them buying ZeniMax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a follow-up to that, right? And to the even
Yeah.
bigger follow-up. And then I read an interesting take like online as I was reading these articles that Sony and Microsoft are probably making these purchases. And this is actually a good point for the other side of the aisle because I'm against like these mass acquisitions overall, right? But of publishers more specifically.
Yeah.
But I saw an interesting take with someone saying that Microsoft and Sony are kind of defending themselves from Amazon, Facebook, Apple, people who are salivating at the idea of getting into the gaming market. And even though those guys aren't necessarily fully equipped to just run in guns blazing, they have money. So if they wanted to do hostile takeovers of these things and like try to set up like a little gaming section, and Amazon's trying. They're not like putting a ton of resources into it yet, but they've put out a couple of games and published a couple of games.
Yeah. To like,
and I think that is a realistic worry overall. So if like Sony and Microsoft want to keep their footprint in the market, some of these acquisitions do make sense.
Yeah, I think the only thing stopping those like companies from doing a hostile takeover is that they don't understand just how different working in the game industry is from working in like other fields. Because like especially with like their game, like Amazon's game like Crucible and stuff, we've had like for those of you who don't know, Crucible was like this weird MMO battle royale whatever hybrid. It was just constantly like chasing trends, and the people who worked on it like came out and said, yeah, no, we didn't want to add all this stuff, but like the executives looked at all of like what was popular and said, oh, just add that, just add that, just add that. They didn't understand how game development works at all, and because of that, the game released like it did like a full release, and then after that release it was so awful that it went back into beta, and then the beta got canceled.
My goodness.
Yeah, and it came out, it was like yeah, we had like people like working at this game studio who didn't understand how to make games. They just thought it was this, this, and this, when it isn't. They were just running it like it was a normal business.
Yeah, and
yeah,
honestly, like when I say that these guys have the money to acquire stuff, I agree with you 100%. They would acquire it to run it into the ground, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Much like Google does things with a lot of their projects. I can imagine, like, I don't know, at the top of my head, like the big successful Google things are probably like they're sharing their Office ripoff, I should say, like Sheets and Docs and all that, Gmail, YouTube, and then just like the regular Google search. So I think they have like a lot of data stuff going on, but like they've done a lot of projects that just fail because it will have like a little bit of momentum and then they just won't support it at all. They just kind of like let it die.
Remember Stadia?
Yeah. I vaguely remember it, but it's there.
Yeah. For those of you
and like, sorry, Stadia's go ahead if you want to explain.
Yeah, Stadia was their like attempt at a cloud gaming service, which is basically like everything you play is like streamed instead of like downloaded or like owned by a disc, and a lot of people didn't like it. It didn't have like a lot of games on it, and you didn't own the games that were on it, and
Right.
yeah, so it just didn't really take off, and they like did like a huge marketing push. They even got Eric Andre to like do a commercial, and it
I
just
remember
didn't
that.
take off. It just didn't take off at all.
And the thing is, like, well, it was kind of dead on arrival because I think gaming was not ready for that.
Yeah,
Like the community. And I think that they were just laughing at it a little too early. Honestly, everyone's like, "Oh my god, but we don't have the infrastructure for that in the United States," and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, like somebody kind of has to pioneer this, right? And if it's gonna be Google, I'm okay with them pushing the idea that cloud gaming should be a thing. Much like I think a lot of people have been asking for like some type of cloud service, like for example, like Netflix for games.
well, I
Like, can
think
you imagine like a Nintendo catalog that can just be 100% streamed? Which I think there's like some cloud services on Nintendo,
yeah. Well, I
but
mean, isn't Game Pass already kind of Netflix for games?
more or less, right? But
Yeah,
you just download it, right?
yeah,
Which is why I give Game Pass like 100% props for being the service that it is. Like, it should be a no-brainer. Like, as your catalog expands to this unmanageable um, level of games, I'm looking at Nintendo when I say this. Uh, you should be able to provide like a huge catalog of that. Like, just charge a cost. Don't, oh, let's remaster this 100 times or let's release a collection 100 times. Just put it all on like, a service and sell it like Microsoft. And you won't have to worry about people pirating it or, I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. So I think that people kind of laughed off Google a little too early, but Google kind of proved them right by not fully supporting it for a very long time.
yeah,
Or they didn't put 100% of their effort and passion into it, I think.
yeah. It felt like they were just kind of making something to see if it worked, and then when it was dead on arrival, they were like, okay, and they just didn't touch it.
And the deals were there. They were like making some deals with some reputable publishers and studios for a while. I was actually surprised some of the things that were coming out for Stadia.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
got
not like
some.
they were completely helpless.
Yeah, they got some like Ubisoft games, some of course Activision stuff on there, but kind of
I think there was some EA stuff there as well.
yeah. I think EA put like FIFA or something on there. I'm not sure. I don't pay attention to those games.
I think that would be like perfect for like RPGs though. Something that's not intensive. Like even if the ping is kind of bad, you can still kind of get through it.
Yeah,
I don't know, but we strayed away from Sony and Bungie here.
yeah. We kind of just like kept going this weird train of thought. We've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, it happens. I guess the point is with Bungie, like it's a smaller studio than let's say Activision. It's not even a publisher; it's a studio, right? And
Yeah,
they've gone through their weird challenges, right? Microsoft, they wanted to go independent from Microsoft, and then they got bought by Activision, and then they wanted to be independent again. Now they own Destiny 2 like 100%.
yeah.
But
Well,
now
I
that
don't.
Sony acquired it, you know.
I don't think they were bought by Activision. I think they were just like in a partnership with them, and the partnership didn't go well, so then they split off.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe it was like a partnership as far as publishing Destiny 2,
yeah.
more specifically.
Well,
Um,
and the original one as well.
The original one as well. Okay. I remember Sony backed one of those, or they helped. They presented Destiny on a Sony stage.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not sure if it
think.
was one or two. I think it
I
was
don't
one.
remember. I think it was one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they established some type of relationship pretty early on. So I think that Bungie just wants to be independent and treated right. And I guess like, hearing what I hear about PlayStation with the studios that they trust, they should be in decent hands there.
Yeah. A little bit of a side note, and a little bit sidetracking again, but I think
Yeah.
it's funny that the original Destiny had like Peter Dinklage as like a big billing, and his performance was so bland, so uninspired, so clearly didn't give a shit about the job that he was doing, that
Right.
they eventually just completely replaced him with Nolan North. I think
Yeah.
was the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Nolan North.
Yeah.
And that's my advice to devs. Stop bringing in celebrities to voice games for you. Like, I don't know, unless they like look there's unless they're like gamers. Like if they're people who like the games, the products that you put out or whatever. I don't know. You're
Yeah.
just gonna get like a shitty performance
Like
most of the time.
like Terry Crews would be a good person to have in a game because he like genuinely loves to play games.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. So like if you see them in the gaming space, if you see them Twitch on a Twitch channel a lot and stuff like that, okay, I think and they're good actors or actresses, I think it's a good move. But just like, hey guys, let's get some star power in here. Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones. You know, they have no idea what they're really doing. They're just gonna read a script and just say like, yeah, I'm in this game. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
But
weird.
hopefully this means something beyond Destiny though. I'm a little over Destiny. No.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, especially with how Destiny 2 has been managed and stuff.
Yeah, no shame, for my Destiny fans out there, but I would love like a solid single player first person shooter campaign, like a new IP from Bungie, backed by
Yeah.
Sony, like 100%.
Yeah, and I would hope that it would be like a kind of like the original Halos or like a competitor to that, but I'm
Right.
not gonna get my hopes up because I think a lot of those old Halo guys have left
Yeah,
in
I
recent
think that
years.
that grasping onto like the legacy of Halo is probably just should be an afterthought at this point. I think just having like a brand new IP that's just different. I mean, it doesn't have to be sci-fi, but if sci-fi is their expertise, then why not? But you get my point.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Well, anything else you want to say about Bungie before we wrap this segment up?
Um, Not really.
Yeah, I don't really have
I think that it's just interesting that it almost felt petty, but
Yeah,
at the same time, I kind of get why Sony kind of has to bolster. Like they're probably thinking about it and working on it at the same time because acquisitions do take a while.
yeah,
Um, but there's gonna be this added pressure now. This is actually the main point. There's gonna be this added pressure for people to make acquisitions, and it scares me that people are just so freely talking about this on social media like it's nothing. It's like, all right, who's next? It's like I don't think that these people should be swallowing up companies left and right, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I really don't think that either.
But we're encouraging them to do so now, and that's a worry. That's worrisome for me because the gaming community is backing this now. So there's going to be no controversy, or not enough controversy, like watching these companies swallow the studios and publishers up. I don't know,
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
but yeah, I think we can basically wrap up that part of the segment. I guess I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. I know someone left some comments in the last podcast when we talked about this, saying that you think Microsoft is good for Activision, which I agree with that statement. I just think as a whole, having the trend of acquiring large studios and publishers is probably going to be a bad trend. And that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's talk about Pokemon.
That's
If we're-
actually what is Nintendo doing? Well, Nintendo's working on some stuff. They've just been pretty quiet the last few months.
Yeah, they have been awfully quiet. I think we have Splatoon 3 coming out this year.
Yeah, Splatoon 3 is probably like end of year or something. I think it's something like that.
Yeah, so-
I honestly think Breath of the Wild is going to be like Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be 2023. Did they drop a date on that? They said 2022? Or did
yeah,
they just say in development?
I think they said like 2022 or 2023. I don't remember.
I think it's going to be 2023. Sorry. Like January 2023. I honestly think that's what. Yeah, they're saying 2022, but I think they're going to push it back a little bit. That's my opinion. You heard it here
same.
first. But Pokemon Legends, I've managed to get my hands on a copy, and we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before, and I was kind of on the fence about it. But I actually really like this game.
Yeah, I've been avoiding like all of the spoilers. I unfortunately got the leak of all of the Hisuian forms.
Oh man.
Uh, yeah, but
Yeah, like someone put an itemized list on Reddit the other day, and I'm like, how is this trending? So I mean,
yeah,
well, I mean, I like not trending like why are these trending, but like why are spoilers like on the top? And it's like these poorly camera phone taking a picture of a screen type of spoilers, you know? So
yeah, I like okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I hate when like the models or something leak and people just like have them all lined up like that, and because people look at those like models and they go, "Oh, it's so ugly. Why would they do this? It looks so disgusting." And then they
there's
see
no
them in
charm to
motion.
that,
They see them in
right?
the motion like how they're intended to be seen, and they're like, "Oh, it actually looks pretty cool." Like that's what it was for like Sword and Shield. Like they I remember people saying that like Inteleon looked terrible, and then they saw him in motion, and they were like, "Oh, Inteleon actually looks pretty cool." It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's because you're seeing them the way that they're intended to be seen, not in like some stupid picture T posing. You
right.
know? Yeah,
And I agree with that. My opinion is that like 3D models will never match up to some of the sprite work that was on the DS. And I'm not saying that with nostalgia glasses. I always like sprite work a lot better.
yeah. No,
But
I think the best like example of it is look at Arcanine in 3D, and then look at Arcanine in some of the pixel arts that they did in
yeah,
the earlier games. Yeah.
like for some reason they can get the colors a lot better with the sprites rather than the 3D models. But you know, that's just something that you kind of have to just
Get over.
suck up and get over. Yeah, because
Yeah.
sprite work is going to be. I think sprite work as like for AAA games is pretty much dead, which is sad. Unless you
Yeah.
have like Octopath Traveler and stuff like that,
Yeah, I was
very
gonna say
niche
that.
titles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're gonna stop doing that because it takes too much work. Very much like Disney stopped doing hand drawn animation, you know.
Yeah.
So, uh, but I honestly think that the game looks very nice. People are um complaining about the graphics, complaining about the environments, which of course could always be better. But I think that the gameplay loop is like a perfect evolution, no pun intended, for the Pokemon formula. And this kind of seems like a trial run for Game Freak, like trying out new mechanics and new things, which people have been begging them to do for years, right? So I know that for the most part, this has been well received. But of course, you have people review bombing or trying to review bomb it now, and who
Yeah.
knows where that's gonna
It's
go now.
yeah. It's just sad. I remember when there was a time where like people were just like, "Oh, cool, a new Pokemon game came out," and if it sucked, they would be like, "Oh, well, that sucks." But now it's like if they don't like the game, they they need to make sure everybody on the planet Earth knows that this game sucks. I've been saying it for the past 5 games, but this is the one. This is the one that shows that Game Freak doesn't listen to us, that they suck, and that all this blah blah blah.
And like I've had my opinions about Game Freak, but I've never like taken to the internet like, this is the most trash thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I'll always just say like, yeah, Sword and Shield has like some disappointing moments to it. I think that the whole like internet connection in that game is abysmal. Like in the wild
Yeah.
area, it's just people popping out of nowhere, and you know, connecting to do like a raid is kind of ridiculous, and there should be better matchmaking and things like that.
Yeah.
Valid criticisms, right? But I'm not gonna knock the game, and I'm not gonna question why it sold so well, because to this
Yeah.
day it had a better opening than Pokemon Legends at this point, right?
I think I'm not
As
sure.
I can't confirm because I don't think that they've counted all the digital sales yet, which I think are going to be higher right now, especially because of COVID.
Yeah.
But Game Freak, I think, got tired of Pokemon at some point. Like they wanted to try new things, and their other games never really get off the ground. So
Yeah. Like
I
mean,
honestly see the passion in this one though. Like trying out new mechanics, I think has brought like some love back into that.
yeah.
They've also,
and-
I think, brought Monolith Soft, who is the creator of Xenoblade, to assist with some of the environmental stuff.
yeah. I think I heard something about that,
Which
which
I said is what they should have done in a podcast somewhere.
yeah. I think so. Yeah. And yeah, I think it sucks that like there are other games like Rhythm Nights and um, Town or whatever it ended up being called. Those like didn't really take off because they obviously like cared about them a lot and they hoped that they would have taken off, but they just didn't. And then all the fucking people on YouTube and stuff were like, "Oh look, they suck. They're not Pokemon, so they're bad," which is stupid.
Funny enough, graphically, I think that Town is that the name of it? Town? It was
I
just
know that
Town.
was what they announced it as, but I don't know if like that's the final name.
Yeah, I remember it was like the Town working title, and
Yeah.
then they just left the name. But I think graphically that game actually looks better than Sword and Shield. But I heard like gameplay wise, it's a little monotonous. I have not played it, so I can't like give 100% critique on it. But it looks like a lot more passion went into the game design of Town than like Pokemon Sword and Shield. There was like something missing from Sword and Shield that I can't put my finger on. But I do love the music in that game. I honestly just enjoyed it from start to finish, and it brought some hype back like amongst me and my coworkers. We had like a little Pokemon group and things like that, and even my friends, and even going on stream to stream the DLC like after a year of not playing. Something charming about those streams, just like something within me, something inside me, made me
Yeah.
feel at home. So I think that the first time around, I just gave Pokemon Sword and Shield like an unfair shake. I would have rated it like a 7, but now it's more like an 8 on my radar. Like looking back at it.
Yeah, and I think that's how it was for like a lot of people. Like a lot of people look back at Sword and Shield and go, "Oh, this is good." Actually, I have something really funny to share with you about Sword and Shield.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so there was this guy. I don't remember his account, but he like recorded some like footage in Sword and Shield, and he was like, "Ah, look how horrible this game is," or whatever, right? Well, a lot of people noticed something pretty interesting
Okay.
about this guy's gameplay footage.
Is this the tree guy?
I don't remember, but
Okay.
they noticed something pretty interesting about his gameplay footage, and that is that uh, he was playing as Gloria, the female character,
Yes.
and he had modded the game to make it so she could run around barefoot.
Can you not do that? No, that's a legit question. I can't remember if you can take the shoes off.
No, you can't.
Okay. So this guy's a weirdo.
Yeah. He's- I hate this game so much, I'm going to mod the female character to not have shoes.
Hey, at the end of the day, the feet are important, right?
God damn it.
These same people are the ones like probably looking up Rule 34 of like Nessa and all those new characters. So
Yeah.
whatever, man. And not knocking people who look up look up that stuff is just don't criticize the game and sit there and have the feet out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
um. So yeah, I mean, Pokemon Legends, like as a whole, for me, like has been just I guess like it has that similar aspect, and I hate comparing every game to Breath of the Wild these days, but I think that's like what Nintendo's doing.
Yeah.
They're transitioning and trying to turn the gameplay loops like on top of their heads for all the games or all their main franchises. They're going to be doing it with Kirby pretty soon too. Um, they did it with Mario right after Breath of the Wild. They're doing it with Pokemon. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them do it with Donkey Kong very soon too. So
Breath of the
I
Mario,
think that they've
Breath of the
right.
Kirby, Breath of the Pokemon, Breath of the Donkey Kong, Breath of the Samus, Air and Metroid.
Yeah, so Metroid Prime as well. I honestly think it's gonna have some of that in it too.
Breath of the
Um,
Sonic.
yeah, Breath of the Sonic is something out too. Sega, I see you. I see what you did. I know what you did. And it's welcomed. And I just hate comparing everything to it. I think Breath of the Wild is a very
Yeah.
influential game. And hot take, I feel like
I-
Genshin actually has like better mechanics overall.
Oh, that's you're gonna piss someone off.
Yeah, I know, but like I feel like that company like basically said, "Huh, this is dope. Let's use it," and then they just stuck waifus in it. But there's like surprisingly very nice like magic mechanics, and I don't know, like it looks really nice.
Interesting. I've been avoiding that game because I just don't want to get into it because I already have like 3 gachas that I'm playing currently.
Yeah, that's very smart because
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the most addicting gachas, just because like the character models are so good, like ridiculously good. I don't know. There's something very attractive about like all those characters. Um, but I think like the gameplay itself, like if you can hold yourself off from like actually buying things, it the gameplay itself is actually really fun, and very much like Breath of the Wild. But Pokemon Legends is doing that, and I think that there's like a lot of things that should have been no brainers in the Pokemon series like way before this game. But you see like a lot of mechanics, like a mixture of Go mechanics, Let's Go mechanics, Sword and Shield mechanics, and then like Breath of the Wild sprinkled on top of that to make this like this new experience. And I am curious to see what Game Freak is going to do in the future. Like, will they take all of this to the next game, or are they going to do that thing that Game Freak does and just drop everything and just start like fresh?
God,
With some other
I hope
stuff?
not. I would be okay if Legends becomes its own little spin-off series. Like
Yeah, because there's like a semicolon to the Arceus part. It's like Pokemon Legends Arceus. So it makes me think they just make this a series. Like maybe the next one is Mewtwo or something like that. Mew would make more sense.
Yeah, Mew would make more sense. Although it would be interesting to play as like a researcher who worked on the Mewtwo project. They'd never do it, but it would be interesting.
I like to think like those guys actually died, like all of them.
All of them just died.
It escaped,
like
just,
in the anime.
Yeah, just force choked everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like even like playing as like a member of the Draconids in like early Hoenn and watching Rayquaza descend and put like tell Groudon and Kyogre to shut the fuck up and go back to sleep.
Yeah. I think these games actually, will give the legendaries a little bit more like spotlight. That's like lacking from the actual game series, and I'm down for that.
Yeah. Or even better, make Kalos interesting by having it take place like 3,000 years ago during the Great War. With like the
if there's
ultimate weapon.
if there's any region that needs help, it's Kalos region.
Yes.
Because for some reason I don't know, like we disagree. Like I need to replay Pokemon X and Y to really figure out how. Because I was in a very dark emotional state when I played it, so I think I was in one of those moods where anything was fine at that moment.
Yeah.
So I'd love to revisit it now.
Yeah. I don't knock you for that, by the way. Like, I completely understand it. Like, if you have any, like, attachment, and even if you like the games, I don't care. I just personally think that they're so bad I almost quit Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you have two sides of the spectrum. I'm just trying to figure out what I missed. And now that I'm, like, a little bit more emotionally woke, for the lack of a better term, I might like pick it up and like, man, what did I see in this game? I don't know. Like, I just really loved like the player customization. I think that was the first game where you actually got to do that. I'm like, this isn't, why hasn't this been done before?
Yeah, this is why we're the first ones to add player customization, and like, I like them for that. I liked a lot of the things that they introduced, but I don't like the games.
There was something in X and Y they never brought back, by the way. You can like shoot your own commercial with like your trainer. Like you had like these promo reels that you could drop for your trainer, and like they would hit different poses. Your Pokemon could be featured in it, so it made you feel kind of badass as a trainer, like you're up and coming in the Kalos region, and like it made sense to kind of have those commercials and stuff like to kind of hype you up, and then you could share it with other people, so you could actually download like other people's promos and see what they came up with, and people got very creative with those things.
Yeah, and it makes sense for that region because Kalos is all about fashion and stuff.
Yeah.
So like they're all about like models and all that. Like their champion is like a renowned model and actor or actress.
Like a fashion designer, I think.
Well, no, the main villain was a fashion designer.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like that guy.
he sucked. He was such a dumb. Like I saw him and I was immediately like, okay, so that guy's obviously the villain.
Right.
Yeah. Like you look at him with this stupid like lion mane hairstyle, and you're like, okay, gee, I wonder who the villain is. I wonder
Completely red.
could it, yeah,
completely red lion mane hair,
yeah,
and he's coming over saying cryptic Sephiroth-like things.
Yes,
You know,
stuff about like beauty and preserving beauty of the world and all that, and I'm like, okay, I wonder. It's literally that what's his name? Pro ZD. It's literally that Pro ZD video.
Archibald.
Like, yeah, like yeah, it's like this world is imperfect, and he's like, oh, and then like they do like the plot twist, and he's like, yes, it was me all along, and he's just sitting there staring at it like I knew this, like obviously from the start.
Very much like that. Remind me, I have something to say about Sephiroth, but when we're done with Pokemon.
Okay. Yeah.
Something funny I discovered the other day.
Okay.
But yeah, like I think Legends is a step in the right direction, and if they decide to, do a spin-off series or bring like all these mechanics into the mainline series, it's going to be interesting. I just think with the release of this game, it's going to be a while till we get our next like 2 version game, which I'm interested. I've been wondering how they were going to follow up Sword and Shield, and this is it. It's just hard for me to consider this a mainline game. And a lot of people are like online, like Pokemon Legends is not a spin-off. Get that in your thick skulls. So I'm just kind of like, all right, man, relax.
Yeah.
Like, everything about this screams spin-off, but whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Even if it's made by Game Freak, like.
Yeah, I do think it's technically considered a mainline title, but it does kind of feel like a spin-off, so I understand people calling it that.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think it depends on the next game.
Yeah.
Where they want to take this.
Yeah, for sure. I think the future of Pokemon looks pretty good.
It's looking good. I think Game Freak is starting to listen to the criticisms, and hopefully, this kind of lit a fire in their butts to kind of try out new stuff, and not being afraid to try out new things, I guess is more more of the thing that I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. What was that thing you had to say about Sephiroth?
Yeah, so I was chilling in one of my friends' Discords like sometime last week, right? And I don't know, we just kind of got into talking about old school like RPGs. I guess someone was trying to remember some old school RPG from like a PS2 era RPG game, something like that. And in that moment, we were just trying to figure out whatever the heck RPG it was. It turned out to be Chaos Legion, made by Capcom for the PS2. It's kind of obscure at this point now because it wasn't even that great. But like I pointed out at that time that like every bad guy in a JRPG, like from I'm gonna say like 99 on, looked like Sephiroth. Like all of them had gray hair, all of it was long, all of them like always was walking in front of some type of flame in like certain cutscenes. They were always like ridiculously strong and pulled up on the party like as a surprise, like it was a huge trope, and it like became its own thing. So I decided to compile a list of Sephiroth lookalikes from the late 90s, early 2000s. And the results were kind of astonishing.
Oh no.
So just like a little side note there, if you guys look up any RPG from back then, there's always like a Sephiroth-like character. Even if it doesn't 100% look like him, it would act like him.
Yeah.
So shout outs to Skies of Arcadia, Ephemeral Fantasia. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that game. That's another one. Chaos Legion, Legend of Dragoon, Grandia, and I can't remember the rest. But fun little side project if you guys want to look into that.
Yeah. All the Sephiroth lights.
I think rightfully so, right? I guess he made an impact. Everybody was chasing Final Fantasy VII at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
It is actually the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII this week.
Oh, dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Square's been putting out like a bunch of promotional stuff Um, and interestingly enough, like they put out a letter yesterday, like, oh, we're so happy that after all this time, FF7 is still relevant, and to me, it still feels like the original game was a relatively new game, but that's not the case, and we're working
Yeah.
hard on the remake and all these new spin-offs, and we can't wait to show you even more projects that we're doing. I'm like, guys, just please let it go. Please. I thought the remake would just be the end of all of it, just like wrapping up everything, remaking
It's
everything.
never gonna be the end.
It's never going to be the end.
Final
They announced,
Fantasy
like,
VII is the Final Fantasy game. You will
Oh.
never hear anyone talk about any other Final Fantasy game in the mainstream.
And it makes sense, but like, it was super popular, right? But like, I think after it came out, I think Square played a part in just making it this huge franchise thing and
Yeah.
hyped it up even more, like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
happy 25th birthday to Cloud, Sephiroth, and Tifa, and Barrett, and all those wonderful characters that we love so much.
Yeah, happy birthday to them all. Speaking of villainous characters such as Sephiroth,
What a transition. I love it.
thanks. Have you heard of this project? You're a Sonic fan. You're a Sonic YouTuber and stuff. Have you heard of this fan film, completely animated 2D fan film in the works called Sonic Villains?
I'm afraid to say that I have not heard of this.
Well, have I got quite the introduction for you? Because Sonic Villains is a fan film that has been in the works for a while. And it is basically the premise is that after Sonic Forces, Eggman uses the last bit of the Phantom Ruby to travel across the Sonic multiverse and round up all of these villains from various Sonic properties in order to establish the ultimate team to completely screw over Sonic for the last time and kill him. You know?
Right.
And we have the lineup is from Eggman's side. We have obviously the main universe. There's Eggman, Orbot, Cubot, and Infinite, who in this series is I guess alive after Forces, even though he's canonically dead after Forces.
As
There
confirmed
is-
in a book. As confirmed in a freaking encyclopedia.
Yeah, there is from The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, Scratch, Grounder, and Coconuts. All those
Okay.
three badnets.
Those were like
There-
my first three forays into like deep Robotnik lore.
Yeah, there's from the Archie comics, there is Scourge the Hedgehog, the evil Sonic. There's Rosie the Rascal, the evil Amy, who's kind of like a yandere obsessed with Scourge.
Please have Fiona. I need Fiona.
Not Fiona, unfortunately. There is Nodius, I think he is, the mage, the wizard.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the wizard Nodius as the last one from Archie. The two bounty hunters from Sonic Underground are there. Flint-
Dingo. Something
Flint
in
and Dingo. Yeah,
Yes.
Flint and Dingo. And Shadow the Hedgehog, specifically from the Sonic Boom universe.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, because that guy's an
Metarex.
asshole.
Yeah. Metarex from Sonic X.
Okay.
The big alien from Season 3.
The Gundams. Those are actually like really dope villains.
Yeah, the plant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and God, who else? There's like a huge lineup of these guys. Fuck. Oh yeah, they have you know that cat girl from the Sonic movie, the Sonic OVA?
Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah. She is there as like a mind-controlled person.
Really?
So yeah, so like Dr. Robotnik is like mind-controlling her to be evil.
So is he, I guess, from the OVA, he's a part of the group as well?
No,
Or there's only one Eggman?
there's only one Eggman. They did like a Q&A video in character as like all of these characters, and they asked him like, "What do you think of the other Eggmen and stuff?" And he was like, I don't want to work with all those other guys. I've had experience with that in the past," referring to like Eggman, Nega, and like his younger self from Generations.
That's a good way to keep it simple.
Yeah, and there's two other wild card characters that we don't know how they're going to be used yet. There is a kidnapped Sonic from the Fleetway Comets who becomes the evil Super Sonic. And
very nice.
Can I just say that I think it's genius they gave that Sonic a British accent?
Oh, even better, man. If you guys don't know, Fleetway was a British publication, so it's like the British comic, while we had the Archie stuff going on.
Yeah, so they gave Fleetway Sonic a British accent in that Q&A video, which I thought was genius. And they even have Sonic.exe in this. We don't know how he's going to be used, but he's not like Sonic.exe from the original comic. In the Q&A video that they did, Dr. Eggman calls him his .exe program, meaning that he was made by Dr. Eggman, but we don't know how exactly he comes about to be, what he is now. But he has shown that he has like some powers to control machines because he possesses Qbot and Grounder in the Q&A. So, yeah, quite the lineup.
I'm surprised I didn't know about this. There's like a lot of like new Sonic projects popping up that I haven't been keeping tabs of, and I'm horrible for this. Just as a side note, there's one that's like a Sega Saturn type of graphics fan game that's coming out. I forget the name of it. I think it's Sonic Storm, something like that. I want to play that on stream one day. But like this project actually checks all the boxes of like the criticisms I've had with like the Sonic franchise story-wise, because I think that there's like so many villains to work with. I would have loved to have seen this done with Sonic Prime, and I'm not going to assume that they're not doing it. But like, Sonic Prime is like this foray into the multiverse of Sonic. So here's what I think they're going to do though. They're going to create a multiverse of a bunch of Sonics that don't exist already, instead of using what's already been established.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I forgot to tell you, they are introducing Elise.
Oh man, okay, as like a villain or
no, she's gonna be in the story somehow. But this is like they're using her because like the events of Sonic 06 never happened. Sonic 06 itself made sure that the timeline was reset, so that none of it happened. So Princess Elise and Sonic haven't met yet, technically. So it's interesting.
But I think she could be a gateway to bringing Mephiles in. I think that's probably why they're bringing her in.
Probably.
I forget their connection, but I remember that there's some type of involvement where she like unleashes that evil on the world or something like that. I can't remember what happened.
Yeah.
So could be something to bring him in, because I know a lot of fans like Mephiles the Dark, and of course they killed him off in his game just like they did with Infinite. So I don't know. I would have always loved, like, I think that I just would love a coalition of villains, which is why I was excited about Sonic Forces, because it felt like regardless of whether they're illusions or not, all these past villains were coming to get Sonic. And I felt like they were just pulled from their past moments where they were like still feuding with him, right? So I thought it was going to be a past Chaos who was still upset. Past Shadow who didn't reconcile with everyone else yet. Zavik who was just not defeated yet. I don't know, stuff like that. I thought it was going to be like a boss rush of those things, and that's not what happened. So I'm glad that there's some media out there to explore those villains a little bit further. There's a lot of Scourge fans out there too. I'm not too familiar with him, but I know people are very into that character.
I'm sending you the full roster of villains so far. There's 2 that are currently unrevealed, and also a link to the Q&A for you to watch later. But yes, this is currently the full list of villains that are in the movie that's going to be made, the fan film.
This is some good art too.
Yeah.
Tails Doll. You didn't mention him, or did you say that and I just totally
No, I was going off memory of what they showed in the Q&A. But yeah, they have Nagias, like I mentioned. Who else did we not mention? Oh, Chaos is gonna be in it.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we assumed Metal Sonic, but I'm not sure if you mentioned him either.
Yeah, I didn't mention him either. Metal Sonic is gonna be in there. And there's like, I'll send Ricky this image so he can show it up on screen. There's like Eggman in the corner there. They've confirmed that he's there because there's going to be two other people on this list.
Okay, so he's just blocking the slots.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part about all this is that they're keeping it simple with one Dr. Eggman because there could be several that they put there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love like the original Archie. I'm gonna call him Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like that because he's a little bit more villainous and foreboding, but I don't know. I like the current Eggman right now, even though I think that he needs more serious moments these days, which I think is coming in Frontiers, to be honest. If Ian Flynn is writing it, I think he's very good with the characters overall.
Yeah. What I like about this Eggman is that, like, obviously that it's a fan film. They like imply that he curses, like, but like they do it in a way where like it's like not too heavy-handed and it's funny because
Right.
he obviously, what I like about their interpretation they're doing is that he has that menacing side of him, but he's also still funny. Like there's
Yeah.
this part where all of the characters like talk about why they hate Sonic, and then he's like he goes last and he's like, okay, and then it like does like this big cut and then it comes back and he's like, oh, I'm so glad to have that off my chest, and everyone else is just like Jesus, man.
So, a lot of people have asked me, like on streams and stuff, who my favorite Sonic character is, and my answer is always Sonic because I think like his design and just everything about him I like a lot.
Yeah.
As cliche as that answer is, but my second favorite would be Eggman, and I do love the relationship between Sonic and Eggman. Not counting Sonic Boom, like I think that's a funny relationship and it was welcomed in that show, but more so like. I think that there's a cutscene that I got to watch actually again, like recently. Not a cutscene, but a scene out of Sonic X. While I was doing a video about the Chaotix. So in the same episode where the Chaotix debut, I think it's like episode, I don't even remember right now. It's like in the 30s somewhere. This is right after Shadow, like the Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation in Sonic X, right? So Shadow saves the world, sacrifices himself. They all think that he's dead.
Yeah.
And there's like some just kind of like everyone's kind of getting back to their lives after like, realizing that they work together to save the world and stuff. And it's interesting to kind of see that aftermath because I always question what that would be like at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. And there's a conversation that they have. So they're introducing the Chaotix, which is a thing because Sonic Heroes was coming out at the time.
Yeah.
So they're introducing the Chaotix, and that's kind of like the B plot. Or it's more the A plot, but it's like a very comedic section. But the B plot is Eggman kind of like fixing the moon after he blows it up. I'm not doing the Snapcube reference here. He's fixing the moon. So he actually like sends something up there to repair the other side of the moon. And so it's repaired. And Sonic is kind of like, what's your game here? What's going on? And they have this conversation. Like Eggman's literally sitting on a cliff. His legs are just like stretched out on this cliff and he's gazing out into like this valley, and Sonic just literally pulls up because he's so confused, like this is not like you, and he's like, why are you helping the world right now, what's going on? And there's two versions of this conversation. In the Japanese version, Eggman talks about how he's just wanting to help the people now and reconcile for all his misdeeds and things like that. And then in the English version, honestly, I really don't like the 4Kids version, but this scene is actually pretty golden, and I recommend you guys check this out if you like this dynamic too. The scene has Eggman, Mike Pollock, by the way, who does like some killer voice acting here, where he's just saying like, think about it, Sonic, like coming up with the new scheme, doing this, it takes a lot of time and mental effort, and I'm not really feeling it right now. Like it's just a very real conversation between the two of them, and I actually enjoyed rewatching that. Like, I don't know, like it wasn't even a focus in my video. It was just the same. It just happened to be the same episode where the Chaotix debuted, but it was just like that dynamic is what I enjoy about those two. Like, they can really scrap and really like have at it, but then there are times where like they're questioning each other. You know, it's like a codependent relationship that they don't realize that they have.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about those type of like villain and hero dynamics, where like, there's like the one can't really exist without the other, it seems, and they don't realize that.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, he is actually scheming in that moment. Like the
Yeah.
next arc, the moon is like blotting out the sun consistently. And everybody is like freaking out. It turns like into a whole South Park situation where everybody's like, what is going on? Like, we're all gonna die. Like there's rioting going on and like things like that. And I forget, like everyone pulls up to like the main character Chris's house. I'm not sure if it's because he's rich or something. I forget. But there's like riots and everybody's freaking out. And like Sonic is trying to stop all the characters for defending Eggman and things like that. And like for some reason, Sonic's the only person in the entire world to say that the moon has to be constantly moving to block out the sun. Like he's like, that's definitely something that Eggman put in place. Like he put something up there to constantly move the moon along with the sun to keep it eternally dark. And everyone's kind of like, oh. So and it's just funny that he's the only one that figured that out. That's the only unbelievable part about all that.
That's
astronomers around the globe could not figure out that Eggman is literally pushing the moon, like change the rotation.
Yeah. I'm pushing the moon. I'm sorry.
What a soundtrack, though. you had to do it, right? Oh my gosh. I don't know, like this is not towards you. This is not commentary towards you, but like, isn't there like a point in time where people get tired of a meme? Maybe it's because I'm an older person now.
Yeah.
But like, you're never tired of it? Like, not you particularly, but people. Like, the pissing on the moon thing has been like, I think we're coming up to 2 years on that joke.
3,
and 3? See? It's a long time. And then on the flip side of that, like, I see Among Us memes to this day still. The same Among Us. Like, people will just put Among Us on people's comment section that has nothing to do with Among Us.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
I don't know. I like them when they have like variation on them, like like the new variation where it's just someone going, "Hey, you see that vent over there?" and then telling the person that they have to be sus. I got one recommended earlier this morning where it was like Sonic Heroes, and it was like Tails and like Sonic and then Knuckles doing that chain thing where they do when they're flying, and then Sonic goes like, "Hey guys, you see that vent over there on the wall? We could probably go through there to get to the end of the stage." It'll
and
be
then
pretty
the Among
tough.
Us thing pops up.
No, he's like, it'll be pretty tough, and if we go through though, people might think we're sus. Haha. And then it ends with Knuckles going, "Sonic, what the fuck?"
I mean, hey, like when it's cleverly done, I don't mind like building up on the meme. But but just posting like pissing on, like, man, you know what? The Sonic subreddit too.
Yeah.
Like, so I would post my videos on there from time to time. I'm not like heavy on self promotion. I'm not good at that, but like it's like a part of the YouTube grind. But like my informative videos on like character analysis and stuff like that, like I've posted from time to time on the subreddit, and I think like one got removed one time for like self promotion or whatever, so I stopped doing it. But like there's like 100 pissing on the moon memes, so I'm like, so you'd much rather have like a subreddit filled with pissing on the moon memes than like substantial content?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know you've spoken about this before on the podcast as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm sure it depends on the mod. Like, you know, some Reddit mods and Discord mods are like extra with things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Probably because being a mod on Reddit or Discord is the only interesting thing they have in their life.
Oh my God, he did it to him.
I had to. I had to do it.
He had to, but he did it to him.
So any other final thoughts about Sonic villains?
I definitely. Do they have a trailer out?
Yeah,
Or
they have a trailer. The link I sent you to their Q&A thing is also like on their channel and stuff. So probably look on their channel.
yeah, I'll definitely check it out because it sounds interesting to me, and just the art style here seems to be pretty dope too.
Yeah,
Takes me back to the Newgrounds era where I always used to wait years and years for like certain animations to come out. When I was young and naive, and I used to believe that people were actually finished their series, you know,
Super Mario Bros. Z. Just say Super Mario Bros. Z. We all know that's what you're talking about.
that's what I'm talking about, Super Mario Bros. Z. But even before that, there was one called like Sonic the Swordsman. It's probably like
Uh,
super angsty now. I need to rewatch it. And
yeah,
like, it was definitely made by someone who had English as their second language as well.
yeah.
So like, considering like how much fan animation has evolved in like the YouTube culture, you probably get a lot more quality these days. But I don't know. There was something about those series that just kind of died, and the creator always like disappeared for 10 years and came back. They're like, wow, people still follow this? Well, I'm proud to announce that I'm working on it again. And then they disappear for another 10 years. Then they come back and they're just like, hey guys, yeah, as you guys probably know, I'm busy. I have like 5 kids now, and it's like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think, yeah, Super Mario Bros. Z is definitely not getting that. But we can do a separate podcast on that whole series. But
Yeah.
the fact that he started over, I'm like, yeah, this guy's never finishing. Like I adore the remake and I love the work that he's put into it, but chances are he's not finishing it.
Especially since he has like 3 arcs planned out for the new series.
Yeah,
Like
you have 3 arcs. Let's start with
I'm
one. Let's finish one,
I'm fine.
and then we'll talk.
I'm fine with just the first one being done and then the rest not never happening. Because like I know that like the plan is that like he finishes the first arc and then the Axiom Rangers come back and then some other thing. But like just do the first arc. And
Yeah,
be
the
done
first
with
one
it.
is supposed to just like be the whole. I think he called it Metalix or
Yeah,
Metalix,
the Metalix. Yeah.
something like that. It's definitely something that's been used in some other medium, but it's basically Metal Sonic or Mecha Sonic or whoever. It's Mecha Sonic, sorry.
Yeah.
Just repurposed for the plot, but yeah, the fact that they never took that guy down, like he wrote that guy so well to be like overwhelmingly powerful and scary whenever he popped up.
Yeah.
Which was
And
great, but like we never got to the end of that, and now it's been like over like 12 years for me or something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
I
and like
just decided that that's not going to be a thing.
yeah, and like I mean one of the like jokes I just want to say this. One of the jokes that like is so outdated but still to this day I find really funny for some reason is like the Axiom Rangers show up and they like do the classic what's his like the scouter say about his power level on like the Mecha Sonic.
Yeah,
And it of course it like shows the stouter and it does say like it's over 9,000 and the like this blinking test, but the best part about that is that it's playing Pac-Man music and it has like Pac-Man eating the dots like around the test.
yeah,
And then it shows the guy like screaming after that in like sheer horror.
the eyeballs like are bulging
Yeah.
out of his head, and like the
Yeah.
thing is, I think that was his first very like creative edit. 'Cause
Yeah.
it went from just like basic flash animation to like extra stuff where he's including hand drawn things and custom
Yeah.
sprites. It was awesome.
Yeah. But
But
yeah.
I think he dropped episode 1 and 2 of that remake.
Yeah, he
So-
dropped episode 1 in 2016, vanished for a while, and then like last year he released episode 2.
That guy has I think that we could do a podcast around it because that guy has a very interesting backstory to him.
Yeah.
And not only that, like he dropped like episode 2 recently. I think he had this run in with Nintendo because he had a Patreon for the animation. So basically it was like he's profiting off of the IPs. So they shut him down for a while. And I think that he almost gave up on it, but I think he's just casually doing it again. I don't know. There's a huge rabbit hole with that too. Mark
Yeah.
Haynes. That's his
Mark
name.
Haynes. Yep. Well, I think it's about time that we call it.
Yep. You want to take us home?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Whatever Whenever. Episode 10, I think.
This is indeed episode 10. Wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's 10 hours talking to you.
Yep. Well, that'll be it for today's episode then. Good one. See you later.
Peace.